Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you've been following my videos for the last few weeks, you might have seen that I've restricted myself to only shooting in my local park. So here I am again this morning. Brought my own coffee with me, so we don't need to get into any of that. And I've come to a different area of the park. This park is so big, I don't know how big it is in terms of acres, but there's this area here which is just, it's probably used for dog walking, but it's like a nice open clearing, and I'd spotted it. I did a bit of Google Maps research looking at the park from above, and I didn't know this bit was here. I'm not really sure what to do with it. I'm not really sure how to shoot it. There are some lovely trees. The tree over there in particular is catching my eye. And it's surrounded by these beautiful trees, and behind you over there there's the brook, and which signifies the edge of the park, and then the more you go that way there's the maze and the actual play park and that kind of thing. But I was looking on YouTube, and this month it's been 3 years since I started this channel. Happy anniversary to me. And it all began in this park, so it's quite poetic really that I've restricted myself to only shooting here as this channel has its 3rd birthday. But I was thinking more and more about it, and I thought, as great as it would be to only shoot in the park, which I'm going to, I said I'd do it until the big UTOGS meetup in the Peak District in February. That's only about three and a half weeks away, so I will be only shooting here until then. But I had a thought a while ago about shooting locally and how you can restrict yourself, and I thought maybe the park is too restricting. I've been driving around, been doing a lot of driving around the local area recently for dad duties and that kind of thing, and I keep spotting different shots. So what I'm going to do is, from my house, I'm going to give myself a 5-mile radius, which 5 times 5 times pi is 78.5 square miles. That's a lot of square mileage, and if I can accomplish and get some of the shots that I've seen, I'll be very happy, and I'm sure that exploring that area, those 78.5 square miles, is definitely a good thing. Inspire yourself locally, shoot more locally, and see what you can get on your doorstep. It's only going to take me 10-15 minutes to drive to any of these locations, and it includes quite a few different types of location as well. Bit of the West Pennine Moors, this local park, street photography. Yeah, it should be quite good. It should be quite a well planned and well thought out process executed. I'm not sure how, we'll see. Hopefully it'll be quite good. But today I'm here, as I say, I've got my Ko-Fi, and I am waiting for the day to spring to life. It's taking a while. I got down here in the darkness and it's becoming more and more day, but I was hoping for a bit of colour in the sky. The last couple of mornings I've looked out and there's been some beautiful pinks and oranges, and this morning I'm not sure if we're going to get them. If we do, I'm going to try and get something with the tree that I mentioned before, and then yeah, just a little trip out this morning just to see what I can do for sort of the 3rd anniversary, which is quite cool. So yeah, 3 years on YouTube, back to where it all began, coffee in hand. Let's see what we can do. So we're about 5 minutes away from sunrise, 5 minutes or so, and nothing's happening in the sky. So I think the sunrise, beautiful pinks and cobbles and all that kind of thing, that's a bit of a write-off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if any light does break through, see if it lights up anything particularly that grabs my attention. I've been trying to work this tree. I think this is going to be one that I have to come back to, and when I leave there's an area over yonder which is got a lot of potential. I think there's some really interesting trees. What I'm going to do, I think, is look slightly more intimately. I do want a shot from this morning. As I say, I'm going to see what lights up, but I've seen these long grasses. If I just turn you around, you see these long grasses, and there's a big patch of them over there, and they're sort of scattered all around. I'm going to see if I can do something a bit more intimately with them. Intimately. Maybe use a bit of negative space, have it in focus on one side of the shot and have some negative space where you could put text, or just leave negative for artistic value and, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm not sure. I was hoping for more from this morning, but I was kind of just glad to get out as well. I think sometimes it can be so warm and stuffy inside, and coming out first thing in the morning, that fresh new day, the fresh air, just that coldness hitting your face, it just wakes you up, and it's probably a good way to start the day. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't see much happening with the sky, so yeah, go intimate and then go home probably. I might try and get a wide shot of the park later on, maybe send that into the weather channels or something, see if they use that later on tonight, I don't know. But yeah, it's got some potential over this area of the park, I think. And it's a bit, well, I've not seen anyone yet. It's probably a really good place to fly your drone as well, because it's so open and quite vast. I complained a while ago there was a bit like this on the other side of the park, and that's where I used to fly my drone and practice. And then they put up all these trees in memory of people, which is a really nice idea, but it meant that I couldn't fly my drone anymore. But this, well, although they might do that here, I don't know. It might be next on their list of planting trees, which I'm in no way of stopping. We do need more trees, as the little thing goes. If trees gave out Wi-Fi signals, we'd be planting them everywhere. But you know, they only give us oxygen. So anyway, less political climate change nonsense. And yeah, I'm struggling, but I'm glad to be out, and that's probably what I'll take from this morning. It's been a fun 3 years on YouTube, but even after 3 years, the struggle is real, and you don't always get the conditions that you want. Right, so I've set this shot up and I've positioned the camera so you can see what I'm shooting. There's this shoot coming out the ground, coming out the grass, and it's got a few buds on the top. And I am at f1.8 to really throw that background out, shooting at a 30th of a second. Let's see what that looks like. It's not an award-winning shot by any stretch of the imagination. It probably needs a few tweaks in editing, but I quite like the balance of the shot, because I've got the shoot coming up on the right hand side, and then the top of the shoot where all the buds come out is quite silhouetted. There's a bit of sky behind it, and then on the left of the screen, even though it's all blurred out, you can see sort of this bank of trees coming down and pointing towards the shoot. So it's not a great shot, but it's not a bad shot. So first one from this morning, I'll pop it up now. So between the other location and here on my little walk, somehow I've lost my shutter release, so I've retraced my steps, still can't find it, so I'll have to get on Amazon when I get back and get another one of them. I'm trying to think a bit differently, trying to use what's happening in the park. We've had a lot of rainfall, so I've come over to the pond, which is a lot higher than it usually is, and I've just got quite a nice shot focusing on an orange tree over in the distance. You probably can't see it from here, and using the pond to sort of guide you into that with the reflections and the shape of the pond to guide you up to that tree. That looks quite nice. With that thought of that there's been a lot of rain, if you saw one of my videos a while ago, I took a picture of one of the buildings here, one of the old buildings, and that they've been doing up. And one of my plans for shooting in the park is going to be architecture, so that will probably feature a lot more heavily. But I didn't show how I took that shot of it. There's a fountain, but because there had been so much rain, it filled up, and I used it like a reflection pool. And I put it on the local Facebook page around here, and people were saying that it was photoshopped and all this kind of stuff. And it just made me chuckle because they had no idea that that's a technique that you can use. They thought I'd just taken a shot and mirrored it, but it was actually pretty much directly out of the camera. I boosted the contrast slightly, and that was kind of it. So I'm going to head over that way as well. I might, if the fountain's full, I'll talk through that image, so and maybe take it again, although the conditions aren't as good today as they were back then. But I might talk through that image, or I might just add that separately. But with that sort of thought, there's a guy on the YouTube's Facebook page which I co-run, and he goes for a run every morning, and he takes his Huawei phone out with him, and he's always taking shots of reflections in puddles. And I thought, I've already walked past some massive puddles in the park today, so that might be quite an interesting shot, especially if I'm thinking about the news and the weather, because they'll be talking about the amount of rainfall. So if I can get a shot reflected in a puddle of the park, that might be a good one to send to Granada. So I'm going to go and try to get that shot. Might see you at the fountain, and then we'll try and round this up after that. I'll pop this picture up. I've taken a couple, and I think I know which one I like the best. I'll pop that one up now for you. So I've just been over to the fountain, and there's no water in it. I think they've drained it. There's some workmen over there, quite noisy, hard to vlog at, and yeah, I think they've drained the water out. But the basic idea is the same that I'll be using for the reflection in the puddles as well. Wide angle lens, close to the same level as the water, so for the puddles it'll be on the floor, for the fountain, the edge of the fountain, and quite a fast shutter speed to capture those reflections clearly in the water. So yeah, basic run through of a previous shot which people didn't realise I'd taken. Because they're doing so much work in the park, I'd found a puddle, and a works van went through it and pretty much splashed all said puddle onto the grass. So I did get one test shot before it did it, which wasn't great. I'll put it up in a minute. So I'm leaving now, but I'm hopeful that by the park entrance, which I'm heading to now, I'm hopeful that on the other side there'll be some puddles, so I can use them to get a nice reflective shot of the slightly well-known and not iconic but well-known park entrance. So if I get one of them, I'll pop it up in a minute. But as always, thank you for watching. I'm going to be restricting myself, as I said, to this park until the big UTOGs meet up. Join UTOGs on Facebook, and it'd be great to see you in the Peak District in February. And then after that, 78.5 is the key number, square miles to explore and adventure in. And I reckon it's going to be a good one. See you on the next one.